Do you add water to your whiskey? Even a couple of drops will make a big difference in the way it tastes. But I gotta tell you, this is not my idea of scotch and water. Stay tuned for this week's Camp Dram. I'm Leanne, and this is Scotch on the Bayou, where we explore the wonders of Scotch whiskey and the flavor of life in Louisiana. And today we're back at the camp, though we won't be spending the night. And I think you saw a little bit of the reason why. We've got a lot of water. Today we're talking about an expression from a really big producer, and that would be today's camp dram of Glenfiddich 15. The Glenfiddich is a very old distillery. It was started in 1887 and has been owned by the same family. And that's amazing, especially in the days where conglomerates own an entire portfolio of distilleries. Glenfiddich set the tone for our love of single malts. And why is that? Well, back then, as now, most whiskey was made and produced to go into blends. But in 1963, Glenfiddich decided they wanted to market their whiskey as a single malt, and they were the first to do so. Today we're going to be talking about Glenfiddich's 15, our Solera expression. So it's a 15-year Scotch single malt whiskey that they're terming Solera, and we'll get into what that term means in just a moment. Glenfiddich is a Speyside region distillery, and their expressions are for core are the 12, the 14, the 15, which we'll talk today, and the 18. For the most part, they're all around the 40% ABV alcohol by volume. This particular one is at 40 ABV, and 40 is the lowest alcohol level that you can have and still be called Scotch. So right off, you know, it's not going to be terribly hot, and it's not going to be overpowering on the alcohol, and that's by design. So let's look at the color. Color is a nice light amber, but it's got a little bit of a red tinge to it. Nose, almost a creme brulee type smell in the sense that I've got some creamy vanilla, but with a layer of burnt sugar, if that makes sense. Almost like caramelized sugar. Creme brulee we love down here in Louisiana, and it's, you know, has that kind of custard, rich, sweet smell, but with the crunchy burnt sugar on top. That's what's coming to mind on the smell. There's like another little layer of kind of a winey sherry aroma coming off of this too. So let's go for a taste. So the caramelized sugar is definitely coming in on the taste from the nose. It's pretty sweet, and then it's gone. I mean, as soon as you recognize sweet, it left town. Replacing that sweet is a punch of heat and spice, definite spice. Interesting. That's far spicier than I thought it would be, especially with the nose the way it was. Mouth feels pretty thin, 40%, you kind of figure that. It is not super sweet. Some people think that if it's from Speyside region, it's going to be this big sherry bomb automatically, and that's not the case. Not every Speyside is going to be a sherry bomb. This definitely has a little flavor of it. You can kind of get a layer of that sherry, probably. The sweet's just not hanging on. You taste it on the front of your palate, and then it books out of here. And immediately back behind it is a good solid punch of spice. The spice is definitely a variation of a hot cinnamon. Yep, sweet, gone, spice, hello. Has a pretty lingering finish, but that gets kind of oaky and almost astringent to the very end, but clean. It's pretty clean and crisp. It's not lingering around and hanging out, you know, having a party. It's just kind of go, hey, I'm here. Nice to see you. I'll catch you next sip. Something like that. Overall, the nose presents very nicely to me. It's very pleasant, and I have all kinds of anticipation of what I'm going to get on the taste. And some of it's not there. It doesn't hold through as much of the sweet as I figured it would on the taste. It's thin, it's 40%. It is a very good dram. I mean, it's a solid dram and a great representation, I think, of Scotch. Is it for me? I'm not sure about that, just because this wasn't necessarily made for me. It's interesting, it's pleasant, and it's certainly easy to drink. And oddly enough, at 40%, I still like to put water on my whiskey, just to see what it will do. Because water breaks up the molecules, the oils, the different acids in it, and you never know what you're gonna get. With a few drops, we still have a good bit of sweet on the nose, which is good. Interesting enough. Okay, this is below 40 ABV now because I've added water. The sweet hangs on longer, and that spice, that heat, it's tempered quite a bit. So another reason for you to play with your whiskey is to add water to it and see how it will change for you. This expression is a better dram for me with some water. It's definitely going to be chill filtered, and there's probably coloring in there to keep it consistent. These people make a ton of whiskey. With this being one of their core expressions, they're going to want everything to be homogeneous and the same, so that when you get one bottle, you're going to expect the same expression the next time you get it. And that's understandable. They're marketing to the masses. The cask influence on this is pretty interesting, somewhat complex. 3 different types of whiskey maturations are used. First is ex-bourbon casks, then whiskey that was matured in new oak or virgin oak casks, and then rounding out the 3 would be Spanish or European oak sherry casks. And the Solera comes in now to why this is named as such, because all 3 of those casks are then put into a sherry Solera System inspired oak vat that Glenfiddich uses to marry and meld those 3 different types of cask maturations into what they're calling their Solera. And in that vat, no more than 50% is taken out for bottling at a time. And they've been doing this since 1998. So you think the majority of that life, the 15 years, is being in those separate casks, and then they go into the Solera and it's all mixed up. The Solera method is used in many spirits, but for our interest, let's talk sherry. So the bodegas in Spain, they use a Solera system, and Solera is Spanish for on the ground. Basically, Solera is aging with fractional blending. So you have a series of casks with each level a more mature wine, with Solera on the ground being the liquid that's most mature and ready to go for bottling. As liquid comes off the bottom, more is added to the top. And this method applied to whiskey, that allows for more consistent product. Glenfiddich is a big player in the whiskey world. And to give you an example, just Glenfiddich produces 13.7 million liters a year. That's a lot of whiskey. That puts them as one of the top producers of single malt in the world. The Glenfiddich 15 Solera is a mass market expression. It's available. You can go to any restaurant, a bar. You're not going to have a problem finding it in a local liquor store. It's going to be there. It's going to be there because so much of it is made. It's 40 ABV, so again, it's really easy to sip. And because of that, it's quite approachable. And it would be a really solid choice for someone who's just starting their Scotch journey. In my market, it's about $70 for a 15-year-old expression of single malt. That's a pretty decent deal. Have you had Glenfiddich 15, the Solera? Tell me in the comments below what you thought about it, or which of the Glenfiddich range is your favorite and why. I'll eventually work through all of them. The 12 is solid to me, just a really good, decent dram. The 15, I think I might have had a little bit more expectation than it delivered, but for what it is, a mass market expression, they're not marketing really to me, but they are to someone who's just trying Scotch or someone who wants to learn more about it. And for that, I think it's a good dram. Let's go pour another of this and let's go take a walk. We're at the camp, came down this weekend to just check on things because we've had a lot of water. We've had water for going on a month and a half now. And that's just the way camp life is and swamp life is in South Louisiana. With all of the rain that we've had in the spring, March and April, it has stuck around. And our camp is on the lower Grand River, and where the river wants to go, it goes. And right now, it's in our yard. Probably, I don't know, probably about 8 inches of water around right now. And it has gone down some, but it's nasty, it's murky, and there's some hazards we have to worry about, like, you know, varmints and snakes and rolling balls of fire ants and the occasional alligator, but all good right now. We're very thankful that it didn't get into the house. Not everyone was so lucky down here. Where I sat this earlier, it was over the top step and now it's gone down some. So hopefully we'll get some good dry weather and we won't have as much of this water and we can come back down and spend more time. We're looking at least another 3 or 4 weeks for all this water to get out of here, and it's going to be nice and muddy for a little bit even after that. So camp drams may be coming from the backyard instead of the camp in the near future. So until next time, so long to y'all.